Here with me now on our Cleveland set are CBSN political contributors Hogan Gidley and Leslie Sanchez. Hogan, I want to start with you, as we've now seen the accusations of plagiarism evolve this morning into, this evolution of the response from the Trump campaign. We just now heard this from Chairman Paul Manafort regarding this, and I quote, "These are themes that are personal to her, but they are personal to a lot of people." What is striking, I think at this hour at least, is that the people running the campaign did not seem to wake up this morning with a coherent response to the allegations made last night.
Well, they've kind of shifted their response. They first started and said, that's ridiculous, no one plagiarized, that's dumb. And now they're saying, well, those themes are similar. A lot of people are suggesting that they may come out today and issue yet another statement and have Melania come out front and address this thing as well. I've talked to some folks close to the campaign. They say that's not going to happen, but others say this could be a tactic to take. Look, of all the things that Republicans want to be talking about, we don't want to be talking about plagiarism. We don't want to be talking about taking a speech lifted, especially from Michelle Obama. What we'd like to be talking about is a speech Michelle Obama gave herself, in which she promised that the president would tell the truth, do what he said he was going to do, and he's done none of those things. He's lied on several occasions. He hasn't accomplished the things he promised he would do. Those are the ways you would, attack that particular speech. The problem is now we see Melania is saying some of the same things. Look, I understand we in the media think this is a huge deal. I'm not exactly sure how much these people are going to care about it, how much Americans are going to care about it.
But should they care about it? This is a man, Donald Trump, who has made Joe Biden's plagiarism concerns earlier in his academic career a point of contention. It would suggest hypocrisy if nothing else.
Absolutely, and Hillary's going to bring it up too. I mean, she attacked Barack Obama for plagiarizing a speech from Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick back in 2008. Obama said that was ridiculous. So this is how the mudslinging's already in full force, and we're on day one of this thing. And look, if this is the worst thing that happens, fine. But I mean, we've still got 4 days left to go, 3 days left to go. Who knows?
Okay. Leslie, I want to ask you as well. We just saw Michelle Obama's former chief of staff, Stephanie Cutter, send this tweet, and I quote, "Yeah, plagiarism is bad. What's worse is that she's supposed to know Trump best, and she couldn't write an original speech about him." Says something. Speaking to two things, Leslie. Number one, Melania Trump did commit completely to writing this speech almost entirely by herself prior to delivering it last night on another network. It also does speak to the stark contrast that this speech had provided this convention last night. It was certainly intended to be, and felt to many, as a heartfelt moment of an otherwise grim evening. So now what to make of it fewer than 24 hours later?
Well, first off, I think that tweet is just catty. I mean, it's really just a Democratic operative trying to take a swing and really get into the firestorm, which we're creating on our own. We don't need any additional help or fuel, so we're okay. I think if you asked Paul Manafort what state he lives in right now, we're at the Hall of States, he'd say denial. And it's the most ridiculous kind of resolution and tactic to take. I think that undermines exactly what you were saying. Both of you have made the correct point. In the Deval Patrick case, when Barack Obama was accused of plagiarism, it was a bump for a day. He denied it. It moved on. And it really didn't make an impact in terms of how he was able to really present himself, the narrative, or lead the country, win the election. I think this could have the same effect. The problem is this kind of drip, drip, drip. To your point, was she authentic? Did she not tell the truth there, or is she not telling the truth now? You want to get ahead of this issue, kind of put a pin in it, and then move on. Either say it was an intern, say we're sorry there was some inconsistency, but you almost kind of have to blame somebody. But to deny this way, and then it just keep coming up with an excuse, is going to prolong this story.
And what it does for us, the us types up here, who've been following this campaign from the get-go, is it undergirds what we've already suspected, that there is a lack of, not institutional control per se, but is it really a campaign that's running on all cylinders? I mean, they got a late start. I mean, there were 7 weeks, obviously, where after Trump secured the nomination, and then Hillary became the nominee, and he wasted that time. And there are two commodities in politics that are just fleeting and finite, and that is time and money. And when you waste that time, it's gone. It's not coming back. And so this just kind of undergirds what we already have suspected, that there's some issues within the campaign. But look, these things are supposed to be scripted from top to bottom. Everything we've seen the last 24 hours it's not good or bad. It's just different. And that's what's so confusing to so many people is it's unlike anything we've ever seen before. And this just kind of adds to the mystique.
It is. But let's just look at day one then. We had a floor fight that everybody saw coming. And still the response to it was at least a bit bungled. I think everybody can agree. Perhaps that went on longer than it needed to on the floor of the hall. But then last night, we also saw some, I think, curious scheduling decisions that saw not just Melania Trump deliver the speech that may or may not have had parts of it cribbed from a Michelle Obama speech, but ended very pointedly with a speech delivered by one of the few sitting senators who agreed to be here, who agreed to speak here, somebody in Joni Ernst with legitimate higher aspirations to higher office, a female to boot, and she delivered a speech last night to a hall that was maybe less filled than it is now.
Right.
Again, are there lessons to learn now for as we head into a day two?
Well, truthfully, the orchestration of that, the timing of that, her speech at Senator Ernst would have been great immediately prior to Melania. She would have been building it up, kind of making the case, humanizing the story. Melania comes in with her speech. It would have been very compelling, kind of put an exclamation point on it, and the evening would have ended. But instead, to your point, it's kind of missteps. It's a little bit of Bush League stuff. It's things that should have been worked out prior to getting here because there's such careful orchestration. That's what's confusing. There's careful orchestration around the brand and the image of Donald Trump and building it up. But then the details, and sometimes it could be a campaign issue. Sometimes it could just be a production issue, but clearly things are falling through the cracks.
It's also been a campaign, however, Hogan, I'm going to get you out here on this one, that has been so acutely aware of celebrity and the power of it and the currency of it, to essentially deploy your celebrity with programs still to come, not just seems a misstep. I mean, that's a glaring error.
It seems like the celebrity has been focused solely around Donald Trump for so long because the campaign was focused solely around Donald Trump. I mean, he's the nominee. What I think they've got to understand and come to grips with is you can enhance that brand by using everybody else that's here, too. It doesn't just have to be you. And as big of a force as Donald Trump is, I can't help but think it'd be bigger and a little bit more pointed, a little bit more unifying if he, kind of followed at least some of the traditional norms where you lead up to the big night and Melania's the finish and you come out on stage and you wave and everyone's jacked up and excited and they walked out. I talked to a guy in the elevator this morning from the Connecticut delegation and all it was just Trump. He was so excited. And, of course, he's from Connecticut near New York, but still it is all about him. But every player in this convention should be used to build up, to increase his brand and increase the likability of Donald Trump. And he just missed an opportunity there because Joni Ernst is so likable. Iowa's in play for Republicans, for heaven's sakes.
I'll say it for Leslie. This has been anything but conventional. Why expect it to start now? Again, Hogan Gidley and Leslie Sanchez. As always, we appreciate your time to be with us all week long here in Cleveland.